Hello and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. As Liz Truss's resignation leaves a question mark over who will be the next PM, we go to North Yorkshire's Tory heartland to gauge reaction there.
I think it's been a complete unmitigated disaster, frankly. And I'm just glad it's over, and I'm glad that we can look forward to resuming normal service.
We'll look at all the runners and riders as the Conservative Party votes for a new leader again. Also tonight, can computers help the NHS to cope this winter? Rotherham Hospital introduces a new system to help manage staffing issues. A recipe for success. Meet the street food champion from Leeds who beat off competition from across the country with his bao bun tacos. And the spectacular surroundings of York Minster become even more breathtaking with a sound and light installation inspired by the Platinum Jubilee.
And it's a tale of two halves this weekend. A fine and dry day to come tomorrow, but a very unsettled one on Sunday. I'll have a more detailed forecast at the end of the programme.
Good evening, and the clock is ticking. Conservative contenders who want to succeed Liz Truss as Prime Minister have until 2 p.m. on Monday to gain the support of 100 MPs. Among those being hotly tipped is the former Chancellor and North Yorkshire MP Rishi Sunak. Well, in a moment, we'll hear from constituents in his seat of Richmond. But first, our political editor, James Vincent, joins us with all the runners and riders. James.
Yeah, Amanda, it's been a long week, hasn't it? We might get some respite over the weekend, but I doubt it. Liz Truss resigned yesterday. We might get a new Prime Minister on Monday, but it might be Friday. I'll explain about that in a second. There are seemingly three main candidates at the moment to be the next Prime Minister: Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt and Boris Johnson. Penny Mordaunt, by the way, the only person that's actually announced that she is standing. Let's have a look at the levels of support they're getting from MPs here. Now, Rishi Sunak looks to be out in front. He's got 6 of our 20 Conservative MPs backing him. And if you look at those names, there's a theme emerging. A lot of them, in fact, all of them but one, North Yorkshire MPs. They want to elect a neighbour to be the next Prime Minister. Now, Penny Mordaunt stood last time. She'll look for a few backers here in Yorkshire. At the moment, she has one, Robbie Moore, the Keighley MP. And then there is the last Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, the wild card here. He has his supporters too. They're quick to back him, or at least quick to try and encourage him to run. Nigel Adams, a big friend of Boris Johnson, Brendan Clark-Smith and Mark Eastwood, elected in 2019. And they think partly, a huge part of them getting elected was Boris Johnson leading the party. Now, all three of them, and any others, if we find any out, have got until 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon to secure the 100 votes they need from MPs to be part of the first ballot. And there could be others who say they want to stand over the weekend. There's going to be a lot of texting going on, I think, over the weekend amongst Tory party members. It all could be decided by MPs on Monday, but if there are still 2 candidates fighting out on Monday night, Conservative members will have a say. Of course, of the 3 that we think will stand so far, only Rishi Sunak is a Yorkshire MP. So we sent Phil Bodmer to his constituency in Richmond, and Phil is our man in Middleham.
It's home to some of the country's most successful racing stables. And when it comes to politics, Middleham is a Tory thoroughbred. Richmondshire is the truest of blue constituencies, a Conservative safe seat since 1910. So what do folk here make of the political turmoil of recent weeks? At the newly refurbished Castle Keep Tea Room, there's plenty of discussion about Tory travails. For the owner, a Conservative voter, she'd like to see her local MP, Rishi Sunak, installed in number 10.
I think he was so good during COVID for businesses, for small businesses. He helped us a lot. And he just knew what he was doing. But Liz Truss I've never really heard of before. And then all of a sudden she's Prime Minister.
And what do you think of Liz Truss's performance over the last few weeks?
Well, I just feel like she doesn't know exactly what she's doing. And, well, the whole place is a mess, isn't it?
For some grassroots activists, the Truss administration has been a painful experience.
I think it's been a complete unmitigated disaster, frankly. And I'm just glad it's over, and I'm glad that we can look forward to resuming normal service.
This is a Tory heartland. What's the feeling among people here, Tory voters?
I think Tory voters have, like the rest of the country, been shocked, really. Shocked and disappointed at how bad things have been. I don't think anybody's impressed. And I think, like I say, I think everybody has realised very, very quickly that this is not a stable platform for the country.
At the local chippy, Gary, a lifelong Conservative, says a change had to be made because the government under Liz Truss couldn't be taken seriously.
I've been terribly embarrassed for them, because deep down I'm quite sure they know what they're saying is not necessarily true. I mean, U-turn, what they say today, they'll be gone again next Friday.
He's backing either Boris or Rishi, but like most around here, doesn't want a general election for obvious reasons.
I think they've got a chance to turn it around in 2 years. They'll get slaughtered if they go now. They will get slaughtered if they go now.
For embattled Tories, the ruins of the last few weeks will take time to rebuild, as many know here all too well. Their political opponents have plenty of ammunition for future attacks. Phil Bottomer, BBC Look North, Middleham.
Yes, some strong opinions there. Well, James joins us now. James, just remind us, first of all, how the contest to elect the Prime Minister works.
Well, first there'll be a lot of talking, a lot of persuading, a lot of cajoling, and that's the text element of it first. And then it'll be that people will have to tell everybody who they want, and MPs get the first choice. To get on the ballot for the first vote, anyone who wants to be the Conservative Party leader and next PM needs to get 100 MPs backing them. There'll be a vote on Monday afternoon by MPs. There'll be another vote on Monday evening by MPs if they need to whittle it down even more. And then if there's two still in the race, Conservative Party members across the country will get a vote, just like they did between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. But there is a theory that the Conservative Party may whittle it down to one, so it's not put in the hands of Conservative Party members.
And we heard some voters there in Rishi's constituency, but not all MPs in our region are backing him, are they? No,
Rishi Sunak has the most support of all MPs across the country so far. Not all Conservative MPs have declared exactly how they're going to vote. You saw there Boris Johnson's got some quite vocal support at the moment. I think he's got vocal support because those people who want him to be Prime Minister are actually encouraging him to stand. He's not said he's going to stand yet, so that's what we're all waiting for over the weekend on Monday. Robbie Moore, at the moment, is the only MP in our part of the world backing Penny Mordaunt.
We now more than ever need some stability, a calm, collected individual that is able to bring to the table a wealth of experience. Penny has been a minister holding different portfolios in 9 different departments over 12 years. She has a huge ability to bring that leadership ability to the role, and I think she'll be able to unite the party and be able to deliver on what we were all elected on in 2019.
And just remind us, James, why doesn't Liz Truss's resignation lead to a general election?
Well, it's a really good question, Amanda. Lots of people asking us that today. It's because the Conservatives won the election in 2019, and the way our parliamentary democracy works, they don't need to call another election until the back end of 2024 or even early 2025. In fact, they could have as many leaders as they want until then without having to call an election. It's kind of in the Conservative Party's hands, and I'm guessing not a lot of them will want to go for an election as it stands, but a lot of voters have been getting in touch with us saying that they want one, and this is what people were telling us in Sheffield today.
Definitely a general election, because this shower have been ruining the country for the last 12 years. You just look at the NHS, Brexit.
I do think that it's time for a general election. It's time to make some changes, and it can't just keep going on like this with Prime Minister after Prime Minister.
None of them can seem to last, long. And I think the country just needs to decide instead of them deciding.
So loads of arguing to come over the weekend, Amanda.
And you've had a busy week. Thank you very much, James. Thanks for bringing us up to date. Now, away from Westminster, politicians and business leaders have been discussing plans for York and North Yorkshire to get its own elected mayor. The mayor would start work in 2024 and would have a multi-million-pound devolution budget to spend on transport, education and boosting economic growth. Here's our business correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
A new elected mayor for York and North Yorkshire. Central government will hand over £18 million a year for the mayor to decide how it's spent. Today, a public consultation began at York's historic Guildhall. But will the idea survive another new Prime Minister?
I believe government policy will be to continue with devolution because it works, and it works well in other parts of the country. We have been falling behind because we haven't had devolution.
Currently, there are 9 councils in North Yorkshire, the County Council, and then separate district councils for Scarborough, Harrogate, Selby, Rydale, Hambleton, Richmondshire and Craven. City of York also has its own council. From next year, there'll be just 2, a new North Yorkshire Council and City of York Council. In 2024, a mayor will then be elected, overseeing both North Yorkshire and York. It's a diverse swathe of England stretching from the coast to the Dales, but the changes are welcomed by business organisations.
I think with the devolved powers that we are now going to have, there needs to be a new renewed focus on making sure that either deprivation is addressed, there is support for rural areas, there's support for rural communities, and we really need that rural housing as well to coincide with that.
The new mayor will have a minimum budget of £18 million a year. At a time of spending cuts, there's a feeling that's a win for York and North Yorkshire.
We've got the proposed devolution deal agreed, which is £750 million over the next 30 years. And so it's really important to make sure that we unlock that. We might not be getting an awful lot more help from the government. So it really is about taking destiny into the hands of York and North Yorkshire.
Tracy Brabin in West Yorkshire, Oliver Coppard in South Yorkshire, and now a new mayor for North Yorkshire and York, but not before 2024. And who knows who will be Prime Minister then? Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, York.
Who knows indeed. Now, next tonight, the onset of winter usually brings extra pressure for the NHS, and this year there's the added concern of rising numbers of flu and COVID cases. At Rotherham Hospital, they've designed a new computer system to try and predict bottlenecks and problems in the care they provide. It means managers can make better decisions about how to deploy staff. Tom Ingle has been to see it in action.
An October Friday morning at Rotherham Hospital's Urgent and Emergency Care Centre. There are already around 25 people waiting.
Any pain at all? No.
Patients like Michael from Rotherham are already being seen.
So they're coming in on blue lights.
And meanwhile, consultant Dr Kay Stenton is waiting on an incoming ambulance.
It's probably about a minute away.
Emergency care is a calm, determined machine, rolling on with whatever the day throws. So far, though, this relentlessly busy bustle represents an average day. But winter is coming.
At the moment, we're high demand anyway, and we've seen post-COVID that demand has actually gone through the roof for urgent care.
It must be daunting when you face that unexpected... You know it's coming, but you just don't know the size of what's coming.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it, the amount of stress and pressure that the NHS is under, especially in emergency departments, see more and more patients, and being able to give the care that we'd like to give to patients has become more and more of a struggle. Thank you.
A couple of floors below A&E could be Rotherham's answer. It's been dubbed Care Traffic Control. As patients flow like blood cells through the arteries of the hospital corridors, they generate data from arrival to departure.
We're comparing what's happening right now, hour by hour, against what we're predicting to happen for today. So we've got our attendances that we're expecting of 221 today, where we are against that prediction. We work on averages and we'll work on what we expect for an average Friday in terms of number of ambulances that are due, so we know how many we've had so far, how many we're expecting for the rest of the day. We know where we need to focus our efforts and energies in terms of creating capacity for the patients that are coming in, creating space in our emergency department and creating beds for those patients that require admission.
All the data that comes through this room flows into this live chart here, which shows the various status of the services in the hospital, where the pinch points are, if you like. There are 4 levels of alert. Green is good, yellow concerning, red is level 3 and black level 4. Now, the information here can then be pushed back upstairs into the A&E department, which means clinicians can make decisions about where to move resources, like staff.
I can see what's happening in the department, but actually having that view of what's happening in the rest of the trust is quite important to say, actually, we are struggling for beds. This is going to be a problem. Do we need to look at alternatives, or what do we need to do? Because we know it's going to be a bad day, because we can predict it's going to be a bad day.
By Friday lunchtime, people are queuing through the door. Each has their own pathway through the hospital. Each will add to the demand on the NHS. They can see the data too, so no one will have to ask, why are we waiting? But crucially, it's another weapon in the hospital's arsenal.
in the fight against the coming season. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
OK, let's get on to the sport. Sally is here. And Sally, there's an update, isn't there, on the racist abuse suffered by one of the Sheffield United players?
That's right, yes. The Blades and their manager Paul Heckingbottom have confirmed today that striker Rhian Brewster has been the target of racist abuse on social media. Sheffield United have contacted the police as well as Instagram over the matter, and Heckingbottom has called on social media companies generally to do more to combat racism.
There seems to be a real drive from people within the game to get rid of it, but we need help from people outside the game now. We do, because it's a breeding ground. If people are going to be able to get away with it, it's just wrong.
Now, new Doncaster Rovers head coach Danny Schofield says it was an easy decision to accept the job as a Donny lad himself. Schofield is preparing the players for what will be his first game in charge of his hometown club away at Crewe tomorrow.
I've watched the club when they played at Bellevue as a fan, as a supporter. And also followed the club through its recent times. I was a really big fan of when Sean O'Driscoll was the manager here. I thought the football he played was aligned with how I saw the game, and it's a club close to my heart.
And at the Paracycling World Track Championships in France, there's been more success for Kadina Cox from Leeds. She qualified fastest for the C4 500 metres time trial, and in the final, she dominated, beating the rest of the field by more than a second and a half to claim the gold medal and the World Champions rainbow jersey. Well done to her, and that's your sport. Amanda.
And speaking of gold, I am loving the trainers tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, gold for sport.
Gorgeous. Loving them. Keep it up, Sally. Now, I hope you're hungry for our next story. A chef from Leeds who left his job and set up a street food company has won the Street Food Dish of the Year award in a national competition. Alex Rogers' winning dish mixes Mexican beef with Chinese bao buns. It's a huge triumph as Alex only started his company 6 months ago and he does everything himself. Here's the moment he won the award.
Street Food Dish of the Year 2022 goes to Alex Rogers at Billy and
Oh, it sounds like you had half your family in the audience that night. Congratulations,
Thank
Alex.
you.
Just tell us a little bit about the competition. You were up against the best of the best, weren't you?
Yeah, so there were 16 other finalists there. Quite big corporate companies, really. You had people from Las Iguanas, Chiquitos, like the executive chefs from there. And yeah, it was just basically around the country. They all got, they all put their dishes in, the specialist dishes, and then they got handpicked. So this is the second year I've done it. The first year with my own business, and to go down and to win literally 5 months into operation and to win such a big event like that is just outstanding for myself, and it just shows how well I'm doing within my business as well.
I'm going to say, could you believe it? Because only sort of 5 or 6 months ago you started this business up and here you are winning with this dish. It's quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm still in shock, really. It's still not set in. I had I was on my ego horse for a little bit after I'd won, as you can possibly imagine. But yeah, it's still sinking in, really. And yeah, it's still not 100% there that I've won such a big event like this.
And tell us about the dish, because you're actually a vegetarian, but this was a meat dish, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, this is correct, yeah. So the dish is called Let's Taco About It, and it's just my interpretation of Mexican food and Asian, which is two of my favourite cuisines to do. And I've just sort of been developing it since I knew about the competition last year, and since I started my own company. And it's just something that I wanted to try for a while, because I love bao buns and I love that they can soak up the flavour. And because the birria dish takes 3 days to make, and then it just soaks all that flavour up, and you crisp them up on the grill with some nice beef short rib, some spring onions and chillies, and just a bit of sesame seeds and just some adobo crema on top, just to sort of finish it off, and it just all blends really well.
Sounds delicious. Now, just tell us about how you operate. You're sort of on a pop-up basis, is that right? So presumably you don't have the same pressures as sort of having to worry about staff and overheads and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we just do pop-ups in and around Yorkshire, really. The furthest we've been is Ripon and Harrogate, and it was received really well for both sites. I have another member of staff that comes with me, and she helps do the front of house stuff while I just do the cooking. And yeah, it's just pop-up style. Sometimes there is kitchens there that we can just borrow, and then sometimes it's just outside. So we just set up a gazebo, and the smells just travel, and people just sort of smell it and come and investigate, see what's going on, really.
Wonderful. Well, lovely to meet you today. Best of luck with the new venture. I think you're going to be a success, aren't you?
Cheers, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's making me hungry. Now, finally, York Minster is being transformed by a new sound and light projection. It's called Platinum and Light and takes inspiration from Her late Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And Corinne Wheatley is there for us tonight. Corinne, what a backdrop.
Yes, Amanda, it certainly is. This is York Minster, as we don't normally get to experience it, because for the next few nights it becomes the canvas for this incredible sound and light projection show called Platinum and Light. We take a journey through time. It begins in outer space with huge star explosions and the creation of all the heavy metals on Earth. To hear a bit more about the pictures, let's speak to the artists, Ross and Karen. Good evening. Ross, what can we expect to see?
So we've taken platinum as our theme, and through that we've decided to look at a whole series of metals. So you'll see Vikings, smiths hammering iron, you'll see stained glass to represent silver, you'll see the gold of the Byzantine Empire, and ending up with platinum, all projected onto the nave and the walls of the cathedral.
Fantastic. And Karen, what was it like to work with the Minster as your canvas for this?
This is just an amazing space. It's beautiful and it's elegant, and you know, the experience of working in here is second to none, really. Just being allowed to come in and make some beautiful images onto this incredible space. The response from the audience has been absolutely fantastic. We opened last night and the whole place was absolutely buzzing. It's really exciting to be here. It's so historical. And we love drawing on history, and we love connecting to the places that we do our work in, and this is one of our favourites.
And just very quickly, Karen, because we can hear some music in the background, can't we? The music has significance in this show, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This particular track we're playing now is from a local band. They're unsigned artists, and we really like to try and promote local music in our pieces now, wherever we possibly can. So Mucky and the Bab have allowed us to use this music. We have the York Minster Choir singing as part of the piece as well. And yeah, musically it's rich, sonically it's rich, and the images are just vibrant and colourful, which is exactly what we wanted to do. It's such a special place.
Thank you very much, Karen and Ross. Well, the event is also really important for York Minster because it's raising funds for some important work here. Neil is the Director of Fundraising. What are you raising cash for, Neil?
Yeah, so we're raising cash for the restoration of the St Cuthbert window. We've seen some images of otters, which are a big theme with St Cuthbert, and we're working through all the windows of the Minster, trying to put protective glazing on it so that it'll be preserved for future generations, and so that they can come and see this building in a different light as you can come and see it with this projection.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Neil. Well, the Platinum and Light show started last night, got fantastic reviews from people who came last night. It runs until the 27th, over half term. A couple of the shows this weekend are sold out, but there are still lots of tickets left. So if, like Neil says, you want to come and see the Minster in a different light, quite literally, this is a perfect opportunity.
Wonderful. How spectacular. Thank you very much, Corinne. Now on to the weather prospects. Loving the little dog in your picture there, Abby?
Yes, I always like to choose a photo with a dog in, as you well know. Although I haven't actually picked any with dogs in for the weather photos for this evening. I'll get to them now. There wasn't an awful lot from today because it was just quite a grey and inspiring day, wasn't it? But thankfully we did still receive this beautiful one from Silver Surfer in Kirkham. The autumn trees are kind of doing their thing and bringing our weather pictures to life at the moment. Another very grey shot, but like I say, very colourful with the green grass and the beautiful autumn leaves. So keep your weather pictures coming in. We should see a bit more sunshine tomorrow. That should inspire you all. All the details are on your screen as to how you can send them in now. So more sunshine forecast for tomorrow, a little teaser there. It's a weekend really of two halves, so lots of sunshine tomorrow. It looks to be a dry day, but Sunday is going to be very unsettled. It's going to be wet and potentially quite breezy as well through the course of the afternoon. But a ridge of high pressure is going to keep things dry and settled tomorrow, certainly the better day of the two. Sunday, we're going to see this deep area of low pressure moving up. That's going to bring some really heavy outbreaks of rain. Don't be surprised if you hear the odd rumble of thunder and see the odd flash of lightning mixed in on Sunday too. A few heavy showers are set to continue through Monday Monday, and it will be quite breezy, but settling down a little more from Tuesday onwards. Looking at the satellite though from earlier today, there's really not been an awful lot in the way of change. It's been a very cloudy day. We've seen a couple of breaks, but we've also seen some showery rain making its way up from the southwest in the last couple of hours, so there could be a bit of spray on the roads out and about if you are heading out this evening. A few showers will continue overnight, but it will then turn dry and clear, so a pleasant end to the night. Temperatures dropping no lower than 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. A very mild start to the day tomorrow. High waters then, we are looking at about 3:12 in Bridlington. That's first thing tomorrow morning, and then again at 3:46 in the afternoon. So very mild out there first thing tomorrow morning. It'll be dry and bright though. There'll be lots of sunshine forecast through the day, and temperatures will be well above average for the time of year, reaching around 16, perhaps even 17 degrees Celsius. So quite warm in the afternoon. So the average is about 12 or 13 degrees. So we're well above that tomorrow. Certainly the better day of the two this weekend. We're going to start to see more cloud, and then eventually outbreaks of rain moving through overnight into Sunday. And that rain is set to continue on and off during the course of the day. A very, very unsettled day. There'll be a lot of spray on the road, so some tricky driving conditions if you are travelling this weekend. A few heavy showers are set to continue through Monday, but they do look to be mixed in with some pretty prolonged spells of dry and bright weather, and then our weather does look to settle down from Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday mostly dry. You can see our temperatures, not an awful lot of change. It's going to be mild or warm by day and very mild by night too. Amanda.
Thank you very much, Abby. And that is it from us. Do have a lovely evening. We'll be back with the late news and weather just after 10 o'clock. Hope you can join us then. Have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.